Hello and welcome to Chalk Talk, your source for Buckeye athletics news, updates, and analysis. I'm Andrew Todd-Smith.
And I'm Aaron.
Welcome to the show. We're going to dive right into it. So it was a little bit of a tough weekend if you're a Buckeye fan. Women's hockey, we'll do a quick rundown of some of the away contests. Women's hockey suffered a series sweep defeat to Minnesota Duluth. Now the reason it was especially heartbreaking, Minnesota Duluth, good team, but they had a 2-0 lead in the second game of that series up in Minnesota, and they allowed Duluth to come back. And they allowed 4 goals in the third period. So tough loss for the women to finish their regular season. They will head to Grand Forks, North Dakota as the 6th seed in that very, very tough WCHA conference to commence the playoffs. So we'll have to wish Coach Nate Handrahan and his ladies good luck in North Dakota. Wrestling suffered a defeat. They were taken down, pun intended, by Lehigh at the national duels. But Logan Stieber still had a good performance. And then finally,
had a pen, actually.
Yeah, yep. Bo Jordan did well. Johnny DeJulius did succumb to his opponent.
He did.
But coming back...
1 point.
Yeah. Coming back home, the men's tennis team kept their home win streak alive. They took down Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, and the match against Dayton was canceled due to inclement weather. So you can't lose a match you don't play. But they will host the #1 team in the country at home, Aaron. On March 6th in the Oklahoma Sooners, so that streak will be very much in jeopardy.
It'll be tested. Wow,
Ty Tucker's men will have a task in front of them. But referring now to events that we covered over the weekend, what went on in the world of women's gymnastics?
So to get started on Friday night, women's gymnastics at St. John Arena, they also lost a heartbreaker, close one. Boise State, 15th team ranked in the country for women's gymnastics. 1 1/10 of a point was the difference. Overall, Tennille Funchess, she would place second all around. Her and Sarah Grady would post a team best 9.825 on the vault. Breaking it down for the rest of the team bests include Rachel Abrams on the bars with a 9.8, Michelle Burns on the beam with a 9.8 also. That would also be her career high as well. And Alexis Mattern, she would put up a 9.875 on the floor. So after the match, Coach Carey Fagan acknowledged the fact that they suffered a little bit with not only just injuries, because gymnastics is a very high contact, high impact sport, high contact. They get tackled on the mat sometimes.
Floor exercises, they're brutal, folks.
But no, the beam specifically, they had a couple issues with keeping the balance, staying on the beam and whatnot. So she acknowledged the mental errors that they made against Boise State.
There were mental errors that were made tonight that, we're a better team than what we showed on balance beam, and all we can do at this point is finish strong on the floor rotation, and then we'll be back in the gym on Sunday morning and back at it trying to prepare for next week. The mistakes that I'm seeing from the team are more mental errors than physical training things we need to correct in the gym. We do have a young team, and I think they have to go through some of these experiences to learn from them and be able to really compete under pressure when it counts.
So on February 28th, Andrew, the Buckeyes are actually going to host Southeastern Missouri State for Senior Day before wrapping up, heading to Denver, Colorado, and then heading into the Big Ten Championships and the National Spotlight postseason whatnot. But across the hall, the French Field House, the Buckeye tune-up, as it were, kind of a misnomer because there were actually 23 women's teams and 18 men's teams that performed on Friday night. So before heading to Geneva, Ohio for the Big Ten Indoor Championships, the Buckeyes got one last little kind of test of the indoor track and field to try to get warmed up for everything, hence the name. So Ohio State, they actually placed first in both men's and women's divisions. Most notably, 60-meter dash, seniors Malcolm Branson and Timothy Faust. Not making it easy for the judges on this one. Check this out. Photo finish at the end. Branson would end up getting the edge by 0.003 of a second.
Me and my teammate tied. So, yeah, it's really hard to get to the finish line first in that short amount of time, in that short amount of distance. So it's really hard. It's really intense on your body. It's just it's a very powerful race. Looking forward to redefending my title in the 200-meter dash from 2 years ago. I've been having a lot of trouble with injuries this year and last year, so this year I'm trying to get myself back to where I was then, because it's really hard to stay on top, and I'm just looking to bring back my team a victory.
So as you can tell, it was good to have a strong showing here at home before heading to Geneva on the 27th and 28th for the championships, before spring finally comes around and track and field can be held outside like it's meant to be.
Fingers crossed in that regard.
But talking about cold weather, we head back to the rink now, I believe against the rival from up north.
Indeed. The men's ice hockey team had a home-and-home series against the University of Michigan Wolverines this past weekend. They did split that series, taking each home team taking the decisive victory. So they did go up to Yost Ice Arena up in Ann Arbor on Sunday. But let's talk about the home match. Pretty impressive win, frankly. Michigan, number 15 ranked team in the country. And Coach Steve Rohlik said after the game, their biggest win, certainly at home, but of the entire season. They strung together a very complete victory. Tanner Fritz notched his 100th point in a scarlet and gray uniform.
Oh, nice. Wow.
So the senior captain notching a milestone there, so congratulations to Mr. Fritz. But a little bit overshadowed by the fact that he got that 100th point on a goal. He had 2 assists too. So 99 and 101, and he would go on to score another goal up in Michigan, even though they did succumb to Michigan 5-2 in Ann Arbor. Really, in both of these games, Derek Angeli and Anthony Greco are the key to this offense, because Tanner Fritz and Matt Johnson are very talented and experienced players, but the guys that I mentioned, Angeli and Greco, show explosiveness offensively that has to be harnessed if this team is going to enjoy any sort of success, especially looking forward into the postseason with the Big Ten tournament in Detroit. So, Tanner Fritz, we've spoken his praises. Matt Johnson did score 2 goals in the first period of Friday evening's game, so impressive performance by the leaders there. But frankly, the most interesting part of that game on Friday, Aaron, was where Werenski, the freshman from Michigan, committed a costly penalty where Michigan, very efficient team on the power play, nationally speaking, Werenski's tripping penalty nullified their power play and effectively, I think it was only 40 seconds into their power play, you see 4-on-4 play there for a moment, and all of a sudden Ohio State double swing of momentum, and they're on the power play. So those are the type of mental errors that you can't have if you're the Michigan Wolverines. But Coach Steve Rohlik addressed that exact sequence after the game.
For sure, it's I don't know. I think they're maybe number 3 in the country in power play. So anytime you can shrink the 2-minute down, it's an advantage to us. And certainly when that happened, all of a sudden we're on the momentum, and it started to go our way. So yeah, I mean, it's a big penalty, just the fact that now you take them off of what they do best. I do want to say, I mean, biggest game of the year for us at home right now so far. You got 2 captains sitting up here, 2 seniors. You got a young man that joined the 100-point club here at Ohio State. I got to tip my cap. It's pretty impressive, and they're even better people. So that's why I coach.
So Andrew, we talked to Coach following the loss against Wisconsin on Valentine's Day, going into Michigan, and now heading into Penn State this week. What's kind of the vibe around the team with the postseason coming up? Well,
this team is they've struggled to string it together in consistent games, in consecutive games, I should say. They're hot and cold. They'll have an offensive production like they did Friday night against Michigan, and score 5 goals, and in the words of Hyman from Michigan, he said, we can't score 6 goals every game. But then Ohio State struggles when they go on the road and they shoot themselves in the foot. And so consistency is the name of the game here. They're 4-10 in the conference, in 5th place out of 6 teams, but it's anybody's tournament, as we saw last year when they made it to the title game and lost a heartbreaker to Wisconsin, who oddly is having an uncharacteristically bad year. But as you said, that Penn State series is absolutely crucial, and then they do get Minnesota here in Columbus as well. So a chance to make a statement here late in the season. To address your question, head coach Steve Rohlik and the captain Tanner Fritz and assistant captain Matt Johnson, they're not the type of players and leaders to rest on their laurels. They're going to expect a lot from the younger guys. Another name I wanted to kind of call attention to, got to watch out for, Christian Lampasso. I can't believe how fast that guy skates. It seems like every time he steps on the ice, he's chasing pucks down and just churning his hips to get at opposing players. So he alongside Angeli and Greco, they're going to have to come up big if they're going to notch any victories against Penn State and Minnesota.
Can we see that move one more time? How they
hip churning? Hey, I can't ice skate. I don't know. Okay, so Schottenstein Arena. We've done this self-toss several times. Quick turnaround from Friday night's hockey game.
just like the ground crew.
Indeed. Friday night's hockey game to Saturday night's women's basketball game. They had to convert the surface. And it's a good thing they set the ladies up for success because they did upend the number 11 Iowa Hawkeyes by a resounding score of 100-82. It was a very complete game. 3 players with a double-double in that game, Aaron. 2 of them forwards, Shayla Cooper and Alexa Hart. Frankly, it was one of the better performances I've witnessed in person by the women's basketball team. Coach Kevin McGuff had them ready for Iowa. Samantha Logic, the guard for the Hawkeyes, she did foul out, as did guard Asia Doss for the Buckeyes, and I asked some of the players about that, whether that's indicative of an overly physical match or whether that was just kind of a fluke, and they talked about it after the game.
I think it was a very physical game today.
I will agree.
Both, I think we went very hard, and I think they went very hard as well. You know, me and Kels being, really scoring, they try to take us away, and it's just a great thing when, everybody else on the team, they can't take us away and take, everybody else away too. So, I mean, it's just a lot of fun when everybody is contributing to the team, and, I mean, we're very hard to guard.
Yeah, I mean, we're an undersized team, so, I mean, we try our best to defend against the big, great post players. Doolittle is a great player, so we try to, do what we can to stop her.
I certainly think that we've played 2 of our best games here in the last week with Purdue and then now Iowa. And we beat a really good team today. Iowa's an excellent basketball team. I think, Ameryst was spectacular tonight. I mean, she did everything right. And that's one of the, obviously 29 points. She kept the ball moving with 11 assists, but she was also really good on the defensive end too.
So here and there from the players and Coach Kevin McGuff about the impressive victory by his women at home over Iowa. To key in a little bit on what made up that victory, Ameryst Alston, career high 11 assists, of course, one of the 3 double-doubles, but utilizing Alexa Hart and Shayla Cooper in transition seemed to be the way that they sort of executed their game plan to perfection. In the middle of the court, you have these 2 tall players that are playing heads up, sort of press defense in a way that I haven't seen them do before, but they were just as equally effective in the paint. So to see those women get freed up because of effective guard play, it was just a really complete performance, particularly by Alston. But then you have Kate Kraft coming in. Even though they have a small team, that bench proves so effective. I mean, Shayla Cooper having 14 points off the bench, and then Alexa Hart contributes 4 blocks. I mean, this team is really coming together and hitting its stride when it really counts in conference play. So, unfortunately, the men were not able to get back on the winning track. They did lose a heartbreaker on Sunday at Michigan, just down the street from the Yost Ice Arena, the Chrysler Center. They did succumb to the Wolverines, 64-57. Frankly, Aaron, they got off to too slow of a start to really have a chance in that game. They were down 20. Now, obviously, they only lost by 7, so they're kind of a second-half team, and they show some moxie and sort of some grit in trying to battle back in a hostile venue. They got Mark Loving a little bit back into the mix, more so than they did at Michigan State. But with Keita Bates-Diop still sort of evolving as a young player, if D'Angelo Russell struggles, this team is in for a disappointing postseason because he's so talented. But if a team figures out how to defend and box him out, and Sam Thompson is having an off day or Shannon Scott's not getting the assists that we expect of him as analysts of this Buckeye team, they're going to drop more Big Ten games. So the fact that they don't have a reliable big in Amir Williams, he should have had probably double-digit number of points, but he only had 4 because he struggles under the rim. So he did lead the team with 8 rebounds, but again, Trey McDonald was rather inefficient. They don't have Anthony Lee right now. So this team needs to key on D'Angelo Russell. But if he struggles, these other guys need to step up, Aaron. So it'll be interesting to see how they rebound. Second week I've used that joke. Two straight defeats. They do host the Nebraska Cornhuskers here in Columbus on Thursday evening. So we'll see if they can get back on the winning track there against Turan Petaway and company. But I think that's going to do it for us, unless you have anything further to contribute.
I can't think of anything right now.
Okay, fair enough. Join us at Chalk Talk OSU on Twitter. Chime into the conversation. We're always, yeah, there you go. He's doing the hand gesture. I can't take this guy anywhere. CTOSU is the hashtag. We put lots of interesting information beyond what we can think of on camera on the spot. But as I said, that's going to do it for us. I'm Andrew Todd-Smith. For Aaron Yerian, take care and have a good week.